Regardless of whether it is the Republicans or the Democrats, a core goal of the United States right now is remaining in front of China in terms of technology, in terms of economics, and in terms of diplomacy with other countries. But if we think of these three goals, we actually find that they contradict one another somewhat. This is best seen through our relationship with South Korea. Donald Trump met with their leader today, and this leader won an election earlier this year, perhaps because South Koreans were a little bit annoyed with the way their economy has been going since the pandemic. Like all countries, South Korea has had some economic problems over the past 5 years, but South Korea's is a little bit unique. South Korea developed in a really great period in the 1990s and early 2000s when Japan was kind of fading and China hadn't developed yet. But now that China is developed, South Korea is facing some problems. First, because their companies are not doing as well in China. But second, because the United States has placed some pressure on tech companies, South Korean tech companies, on what they can trade with China, especially in terms of semiconductors. And some research has found that this has actually affected South Korean companies. And now, over the past few years, we have seen South Korean companies begin to invest more in the United States, even before Trump came along. Because now that they lack a market in China, they need to find a new place to make up for their loss. A few years ago, we saw the first trade deficit emerge between South Korea and China in 35 years. But this is a problem because at the same time as they are seeking out a new market, the United States is also trying to help its own companies compete better in this world that is emerging. This is best seen through Donald Trump last week buying 10% in Intel, and right now there are also talks of the United States government buying more shares in other American companies. So now we have a problem. The main problem is that how do we help American companies become more competitive while also allowing South Korean companies more market share? Because South Korean companies are the competitors of American companies. We cannot have both. And so if we help American companies, that might push South Korean companies and South Korea to be a little bit more open to trading more with China. What do you think about this? Bye-bye.